Greetings, fellow horror fans. Well, our look at the Nightmare on Elm Street series now continues on with Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare. Set 10 years from now, Freddy Krueger has returned and killed nearly every child and teenager in the town of Springwood, Ohio. The only surviving teenager, John Doe, is confronted by Freddy in a dream. John wakes up just outside the Springwood city limits, but, due to a head injury, does not remember who he is or why he is there. At a shelter for troubled youth, 3 of the residents, Spencer, an affluent stoner who is resisting his dad's attempts to get him to conform, Carlos, a troubled kid who was physically abused by his mother to the point of becoming deaf in one ear, and Tracy, a tough girl who was sexually abused by her father, plot to run away to California. The police find John and take him to the shelter, where he becomes the patient Dr. Maggie Burroughs. Maggie notices a newspaper clipping from Springwood in John's pocket. To attempt to cure John's amnesia, she plans a road trip to Springwood. In an attempt to run away, Tracy, Carlos, and Spencer stow away in the van, but they discover when John has a hallucination and almost wrecks the van just outside Springwood. Tracy, Spencer, and Carlos attempt to leave Springwood, but not before suffering arrest at the abandoned 1428 Elm Street. John and Maggie visit the Springwood orphanage and discover that Freddy had a child. John believes that he is that child because Freddy allowed him to live. Back on Elm Street, Carlos and Spencer fall asleep and are killed by Freddy. Tracy's almost killed, but is awakened by Maggie. John, who went into the dream world with Tracy to try to help Spencer, is still asleep. Maggie and Tracy take John back to the shelter. On their way back, Krueger attacks John in his dream. Before killing John, Krueger reveals that his child is a girl. As John dies, he tells this to Maggie. Tracy and Maggie return to the shelter, but they find that no one remembers John, Spencer, or Carlos except for Doc, who has learned to control his dreams. Maggie finds her adoption papers and realizes that she is Freddy's daughter. Bom bom bom. Her birth name was Catherine Krueger, but her name was changed to Maggie Burroughs when her father was arrested and subsequently murdered. Doc discovers that Freddy's powers comes from dream demons who continually revive him, and that Freddy can be killed if he is pulled into the real world. Maggie says that she'll be the one to enter Freddy's mind and pull him into the real world. Once in the dream world, she puts on a pair of 3D glasses and enters Freddy's mind. In his mind, she learns that Freddy was teased as a child, was abused by his foster father, inflicted self-abuse as a teenager, and murdered his wife. Freddy was given the power to become immortal by fiery demons. Maggie struggles to pull Freddy into the real world, but eventually succeeds. Maggie and Freddy end up in hand-to-hand combat against one another. She uses several weapons confiscated from patients at the shelter. Enraged by the knowledge of what he has done, Maggie tears off Freddy's clawed glove and stabs him in the stomach with it, embedding the glove's claws into a steel support beam and leaving Freddy suspended above the ground. Tracy tosses Maggie a pipe bomb, which she throws into Freddy's chest. The 3 dream demons, unable to revive him in the real world, fly to Freddy after the pipe bomb kills him. Tracy, Doc, and Maggie rejoice as the letter triumphantly declares, Freddy's dead. But for how long, though? Alright, so let's take a look at the production of this movie, beginning with the development. The previous 5 installments of the Elm Street franchise have considerably helped the finances of New Line Cinema that had earned the nickname the House of Freddy built. The studio had begun to develop other franchises, for example, Critters, and by 1990, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Bob Shea recalled in the Never Sleep Again documentary in 2010 that, quote, frankly, it was time to move on and we had other projects we wanted to focus on. The decision was made to make the 6th entry the final film in the Elm Street series. Director Rachel Talalay had produced most of the previous installments and was keen to helm the 6th film as its director. She also had a number of ideas that helped refresh the series, including not calling the title Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6, and incorporating more humor into this entry, which she felt was lacking from the previous film. The production of Freddy's Dead coincided with the original airing of Twin Peaks, which was later acknowledged as an influence on the film with its more surreal, humorous aspects. Elements of this can be seen throughout the film, including Freddy using a version of the Nintendo Power Glove to control Spencer's character and dragging a bed of spikes to impale John Doe in a manner reminiscent of a Hanna-Barbera cartoon. In the original script, 15-year-old Jacob Johnson, son of the previous installment's main character Alice Johnson, is the main character, and many of the Dream Warriors for Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors return to aid Jacob in defeating Freddy after he kills Alice. This was later discarded. Peter Jackson also wrote a screenplay that was not used. His story was about teenagers who did not see Freddy as a threat and took sleeping pills to enter Freddy's world. Jackson's script also included a police officer put into a comatose state to permanently be in Freddy's realm. John Carl Buechler was the chief special makeup effects artist for the film, returned to the series after serving the same role in Nightmare on Elm Street 4: The Dream Master. He also contributed to the film's 3D Freddy Vision climax. The last 10 minutes of the film are in 3D. To cue the audience to put on their 3D glasses, Maggie seemed to put on her 3D glasses in the film. The effect was eliminated for the VHS, Blu-ray, and television releases, with the exception of the UK and French rental version and the US Laserdisc version. The DVD box set released in 1999 reinstated the 3D effect and included 2 pairs of 3D glasses. Marchitelli revealed that whilst the film was being processed in 3D, the lab developing the print accidentally sent them a 2-second clip from the then unreleased Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Ooh. And now finally onto the editing. Unlike its predecessor, there was relatively little editing of violent sequences as mandated by the MPAA. Marchitelli noted that the original cut of the film was long, and as a result, several sequences were either removed or significantly shorted. A total of around 47 minutes of footage was removed from the final print of the film. The work print for Freddy's Dead is available online and includes much of the deleted material. This includes Maggie discussing her nightmares with her mother, more dialogue between Doc and Tracy, additional footage of the Springwood Fair, and the discovery of Freddy's basement lair. Marchitelli suggested that the reason the footage was removed was so the audience could get to Freddy quicker. Some of the more disturbing elements of John's first nightmare were also trimmed down. So overall, yeah, this movie is just not really all that good. And to be perfectly honest, it's definitely my least favorite movie in the entire franchise. So, yeah. So overall, I give Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, 2 claw gloves out of 5. Well, anyway, tune in tomorrow as we take the next entry in the series and a personal favorite of mine, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So, until then, remember everyone, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.